All right, let's see. So what should we do tonight? Do we do aliens tonight? Do we do some more character heads? Typically like to start by making a little bit of a mess. Let's see what comes out of it. We should do some product stuff. Or, you know what we do? Do some robots. Robots are always good. Let's see here. Let's change the brush up a little bit. Get a little warmed up for a minute here. Think about what I want. You know, when you do this for a little while, you can just start with sort of gestural marks and see where that takes us. Trying to keep it loose, and then we can, you know, firm up all the lines after the fact once we kind of know what we want to get. First thing is like, what's the function of this robot? Is it a carrier thing? Is it a probe droid kind of deal? Is it an assault mech? Sometimes I just start looking for stuff and then I'll add in functionality or design elements that would increase the functionality later. Maybe this is a some sort of maybe combat mech. I don't know. Make it look like it's functional to some extent. Should I have a head? It just has like a little sensor array in the front. This is very similar to if I'm gonna do, you know, an underlay with a light gray marker. Same idea. And right now I'm just kind of blocking this thing in. And we can add details in afterwards. Maybe I want to hint at some stuff that I can include later. I can make this a little darker for you guys too. Think about how the head and stuff. Some perspective issues on that back thing I gotta fix. So I'm playing around with some of this stuff because I've been thinking I'm gonna potentially start doing some more regular content. Try my hand at some of that and record some of my lessons from class and stuff in a little more formal way. I think could be interesting, or at least fun. I've wanted to do that for a little while, and a couple people have asked me, and I've been thinking about it, so might give it a shot and just see what happens. If anything, it's just a nice way for me to catalog some of my own stuff for future reference. And it's good practice. Helps me get better. It's something I don't get to do very much anymore, and I would like to improve. I think that's important for everybody. And you really do have to practice if you want to get good at any of this stuff. You got to put the time in every day. Don't want to get too hung up on detail stuff at this point. Procreate's really awesome for this kind of stuff too, because I can lay this in and lighten it up and go over it again, or erase it, undo it, watch the playback. It's just such a great program. I like Sketchbook a lot too, but for different reasons. I use it for different stuff. Both teams are super responsive too. They really care about their product and their customers, which is really nice as somebody who uses it, I'm not really drawing through this completely. I'm kind of guesstimating where some of this stuff is, but I can go in and work that out later. Maybe we'll fit a couple on here. Again, I like to kind of block out gesturally where the stuff is and then go back in and fix some of it afterwards. I don't typically erase, but what are we thinking? Giant sword, maybe? Always a good one. I think I'll do this, try and do this every night if I can, at least for half an hour. Maybe we'll work on a couple of pieces a little bit at a time for the week. I am kind of new at this, so if you do watch it, and you can leave a comment if it's too loud or anything I can do to make it better or more educational, or if you have questions or you want to know about brushes and stuff. All that good stuff. Or if you have requests for stuff. One of the things that, and I've been talking about this for a very long time, but I really would like to get better at drawing cars, just because it's such good practice for stuff. I am not a car guy, so I am not, it does not like compel me, but it is something I should probably get good at just because it's probably applicable in a lot of other scenarios. It's just good form exercises, Not because I want to design cars, but just because I think there's some good practice in there. But really, what's a car but a spaceship with wheels? So if I can do a spaceship, I should be able to do a car. We'll see. We shall see. I promised an old high school classmate of mine like years ago that I'd do it. And Jeremy Nutt, if you're watching, I have not forgotten you. I, Oops. Let's see if I can't hide those notifications. There we go. That's one thing I cannot forget to do. No one wants to see that crap. Okay, let's see. What do I want to do with his hand? Its hand. One of the things I constantly screw up is drawing my stuff off the artboard. It's such a rookie move, but and I even tell my students, you put a little border around the page, and it kind of forces you to, stay within the line. So if I do this, kind of keep a little border, I can always get rid of it later, and it sort of forces your brain to stay inside the margins. Love that quick line. It kind of makes you think about how you're going to compose your stuff too. So maybe this is like a Gundam Knight or something, or some sort of knight thing. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, we got 15 more minutes. Let's see what we can do in 15 minutes. Yeah, maybe I liked that. It's funny, that little border trick works really well for analog. It's kind of unnecessary with digital, but you do still tend to lose, at least I do tend to lose focus on where I am sometimes in the page. I would just love to get better at this stuff in general. The only thing that's going to happen is if I do it. And I like the idea of being able to do it along with you folks. And if I can help some folks along the way, or we can get better together, that's great. I like the idea of him being some sort of like knight. So maybe this is there's like a shield on this arm. Or maybe the shield is like integrated into the hand so it can flip around. So it could go like from a front, it could be flipped from the front side to the side of his arm. That's kind of a neat idea. So maybe there's some sort of like, hinge here, like struts, and then this thing can, something like that. And Procreate is awesome. I think I'm going to move that a little bit to the center. And we'll scale this whole guy down a little bit. I'll have to detail out that a little bit better here. So maybe that's like this. Or something. I don't know. I don't like the way that that's mounted. That's a little off. I think it's partially the perspective on the shield is weird. I can fix that when we get going on the next thing. Maybe there's some kind of, gotta have a sword, right? That hides part of the knee, which is too bad, but that's all right. Think about some of these shapes and how I can bring those shapes into some other areas here. So, you know, this little like hook thing here, I can bring that into the toe, into this back wing thing. I've got a bunch of circles in places. Got the shield here. Maybe we can repeat that motif. Maybe we can have some elements of that in. Sort of got the squared around thing going on here. Maybe I can bring that into the legs a little bit more. I have to think about that a little bit. And his torso is very thin. I wonder if I can pull that shape into here as well. Maybe this can like, this piece here can change and become a hand, or maybe the shield can slide back and then the hand could flip out from here. I always like to think about how the drawings, whether it's product or anything, how they would move and animate, you know. That's something that I really want to get more into is animation, but even if you're just thinking about a 2D sketch, thinking about how the thing is going to move, if you're holding it, or if you know, if you were this robot, how would you move? How would you operate? You know, right now there's no way for this torso to really spin unless this part, unless there's like something under here that would rotate. So maybe that's where that pivot is. You know, these arms could flex up and down this way. Whoops. From here, but it has limited mobility. So maybe this piece can like flex up and down, or the whole thing can move, and it's got a two-part joint. That's probably not that practical here, but we can always refine that, right? That's the cool thing about this, is that you could just do a bunch of quick sketches and then refine them. Because what has it been, 23 minutes, and we've already got like a pretty decent, we've got something down. And I'm just kind of messing around. If I were really doing this, I'd probably do a whole bunch of thumbnails, and maybe that'll be something we do on another, it looks too much like a face. Maybe that'll be something we do on another stream, is do the whole thumbnailing process and pull out some different mechs. I always loved Shockwave's head from Transformers G1 Shockwave. He had kind of like the octagon thing with the circle in the center. Something like that. That was a cool design. Yeah, that's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. 5 minutes to spare. All right, let's see what else we can do on this that might help make it cool. Kind of split here. This foreshortened leg needs some work. I'll have to come back to that later. I think I might round out these bicep areas too. Make this a little bit sculpt this a little bit more in here and on the other side so it's not quite so blocky. Although I don't know. Maybe I could make the bottom leg a little blockier. Because right now I'm not really getting consistency in the limbs. The torso is looking pretty cool, but I don't love the limbs so much. But again, that's kind of the nice thing about it being blocked out. Let's do another quick scribble and see what we can come up with here. Hmm. Hmm. Start seeing how these little details start to pop out, like that shoulder pad piece. Maybe this has some lights on it. Starts looking like the robot from the Lost in Space movie a little bit, or the show. That was a really cool show too. I hope they bring that back for a season 2. I don't know if they're going to or not, but I really liked that. I thought that was a really cool update. So these little scribbles, like, they're just ideas, little nuggets of thoughts that, if they're interesting shapes, maybe they become something a little bit more. It just starts getting the wheels turning a little bit, and they're really gestural. I really enjoy that. Some kind of spacesuit thing.